Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast, where we bring unique insight and analysis behind your favorite teams at the collegiate and professional levels. I'm your host, Chase Jontz. Normally, I'd have Brady King and Matt Ricketts in here, but they had some other business to attend to. They did the NFC episode with me. Today, we're doing an AFC episode, and we have a great friend of ours for the show, Ben Connors of Indianapolis. What's up, Ben?
What's going on, Chase? I'm excited, dog. Let's talk everything AFC today, and we'll talk who's going to be the champion at the end.
Got that right, man. Definitely had to flash that AFC championship ring right there, man. Shoot. I'm excited for this. Obviously, you can tell we're both wearing our Bengals uniforms, repping the Jamar Chase. Ben, what jersey you got here? You got Cheeto? Is that right? Cheeto? Oh, yeah. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. But yeah, we'll talk Bengals later on in the episode. We still got to get to these first two playoff games. The first one being the Chargers and the Jaguars. That is Saturday night, 8:15 on NBC Peacock. You'll have Al Michaels and Tony Dungy on the call for that one. You look at the Chargers and the Jags. Both of these teams are young. The Chargers have a lot of talent. They're star-studded. The Jags are, a lot of youth on that team. They have, quickly defied odds. They had back-to-back number one overall picks, obviously picking Trevor Lawrence and then picking the infamous Trayvon Walker, who actually has had not that bad of a year, but nowhere near the number one pick standards. I think both teams are really highlighted by their two 6'6", long-haired, statured quarterbacks. Ben, how impressive you been with Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence this season?
I'm very impressed with both. Trevor sticks out more this season than last. While I think Herbert's been more consistent, I really like what I've seen from Trevor this season. I feel like in the moments he needed to be clutch, the Cowboys game and a couple others, he's come up big. And that's why they're in the playoffs. They had a 3-7 record, and they did what they needed to do to be here. While the Chargers, I love what I've seen from Herbert. I think he's been just as consistent as he was last year. I would love to see how he plays in the playoffs, though.
Most definitely. I mean, this is Herbert's third year in the league. His first season, the Chargers were a record of 7-9, and they kind of had to deal with some stuff overall. And in the first year with Herbert, second year they were able to kind of get through a lot of obstacles. They finished 9-8. Ended up losing to the Raiders in the final game of the season. Ultimately, was kind of putting Brandon Staley, first year coach at the time, on a hot seat for some of the decisions that he made down the stretch. So, the Chargers finally able to overcome some of those things and make the postseason. Justin Herbert this season, 68% completion percentage, 4,739 passing yards, which ranks second in the NFL, 25 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. So a nice TD to interception ratio there. I want to ask you this, Ben. Take a guess on how many passes Justin Herbert has thrown in a 17-game season.
I'm going to say 380.
Well, the number is going to surprise you. 699 throws this season.
Wow.
Yeah, he has almost thrown his entire arm off, but he's got a big enough arm to just keep chucking that thing. But yeah, 699 pass attempts, which is second in the league to only Tom Brady, the oldest man in the league, who has thrown the ball 737 times this season. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Talk about Tom Brady not being a robot, though, throwing the most amount of times of any quarterback this year. And switching off to the next quarterback, like we were talking about, Trevor Lawrence, the improvement that he's made from year one to year two has been one of the biggest jumps we've seen in NFL history, I'd say, from a number one pick. 66% completion percentage, 4,113 passing yards, 25 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Lawrence has only taken 27 sacks on the season, which is, I think it's like the third least by any quarterback in the playoffs. So, Lawrence is definitely getting the protection that he needs. He's got a lot of guys he's able to throw to. Obviously, Christian Kirk. He's got Zay Jones, Travis Etienne out the backfield. Both of these teams with the young quarterbacks, stars around them, rising stars around them. So, both of them are very fun to watch. Flipping sides, though, which defense is going to step up when it matters? The thing is, the Chargers and the Jags, you kind of weigh them together on the defensive sides of the ball. The Chargers, obviously you look at the pass rush with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack and all the guys they have up front. things look good for them in that department. But the run defense is still bad. They are still getting gashed by the run, giving up over 140 yards a game on the ground, which has been the reason why a good team like that has lost 7 games. And then the Jaguars, they've picked it up, in recent weeks. The pass rush has really gotten after it. They've been stuffing the middle of the defense on runs. Rayshawn Jenkins, man, the rookie corner, he has really, really stepped up this year and made some big time plays and big time moments. But which defense is going to step up when it matters? What do you think, Ben?
I agree with the Chargers backfield. I think they're pretty solid there. Derwin James, and I think it'll really come down to the run defense of the Chargers if they step up and if they can get ET, as I call him.
Yep.
I think that will matter the most because I think the Jaguars, especially as I've seen in fantasy, they can put up points while I think the Chargers will struggle a bit with the run game. I think that is what it'll come down to, how much they let ET run, because from a backfield perspective, I think they're pretty good at cornerback and safety in the backfield. So.
Yep, most definitely. I mean, you talk about the pass rusher there. You talk about their secondary. It just all depends on their linebackers if they're able to stuff the hole, if they're able to come down and make plays, across the middle, over the middle, whatever you want to call it. So it definitely comes down to those guys. And with the Jacksonville Jaguars, I mean, they're a young defense. They're a bunch of kids flying around, just seeing if they're going to be able to, cover a guy like a Keenan Allen or so, because we just got word that Mike Williams has been ruled out for tomorrow. And that is a huge loss for Justin Herbert. I mean, talk about Mike Williams being the big 6'5" frame he is, a jump ball receiver, one of the best deep threats in the National Football League. So definitely going to hurt the Chargers quite a bit. And they're going to have to rely on a guy like Austin Eckler tomorrow, as they always do, especially in the running game now. But this should be a very fun contest. Do you have a player or matchup that we should watch out for in this?
That's a good question. I would say let's look and see how the slot looks for the Jaguars with the backfield that we were saying the Chargers have. Let's see how that looks, because I just do not see a big passing game from the Jags. I think they can win without it, but I think that would be a huge – if I had to put 3 keys on the Jags' success, if they can get a deep ball, if they can do anything in the backfield, because I think it's going to rely on ET most of the time.
Yep.
If they can get anything from any of Zaire or Kirk or anyone, if they can get anything going deep, I'd say that would be a huge point of success for them, especially with the Chargers' backfield.
Most definitely. I mean, you look at Travis Etienne is one of my players to watch as well. I mean, talk about him coming out of the backfield and catching passes, especially in the run game. He's just such a versatile player who's a rising star coming up. Him and Trevor obviously have had that chemistry as well when it comes to, maybe talking about on a protection piece and then trying to slip out of the backfield, or just with Etienne's running ability. He's a receiver in the backfield. It's really what Travis Etienne is. A matchup I want to watch out though is the other running back, like Austin Eckler. I want to see Austin Eckler versus Jaguars linebacker Foyesade Oluokun. That's a name for right there. I had to really try to get Google Translate to pronounce that one, but Foyesade Oluokun, the NFL league leader in tackles with 184 this year for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Austin Eckler, the NFL leader in scrimmage touchdowns this year, 18 touchdowns, 184 tackles for Oluokun. I want to see which guy is going to stick to their matchup. Well, I want to see if Eckler is able to, do a little bit of both in respective games of the rushing and receiving end. And then if Oluokun can, really just stay in front of him and try to, frustrate Austin Eckler. If he's able to, get down and have a good angle and tackle on him, he's able to, cover well in the passing game. So this is going to be really interesting to see if those two can match up with each other really well. The running backs are going to play a big, crucial part of this game, especially out of the backfield with these two great quarterbacks that are playing. Let me ask your prediction, though. Chargers, Jags, both teams are pretty hot. Who do you got winning this game moving on?
That's a good one, too. I try not to look too far back at the 38-10 score from earlier this season. Yep. Chargers did have injuries, as they do now as well. I really like the Chargers. I think they'll pull the upset. I don't know if playoff experience for either team will really play a factor. I'd have to look at if anyone has recent playoff experience. But I'm going to go with the Chargers 24-21, a field goal game like they like. I just think they haven't been there in a while. They really are going to want to win. And I think they're the best bet to beat the Chiefs. So I feel like it's just destined to happen.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I actually have almost identically the exact same pick as you. I have the Chargers winning this game. The Chargers are favored, I believe, by 2, so very narrow. They're actually one of the only road favorites of the weekend. But I have the Chargers winning this game 24-23. So we were really close when it came to the score prediction and all. I think, like said, I think it's going to come down to the final drive or two. I think the Chargers, with it being not necessarily a field goal game, but I think a field goal will be kicked to, put them over the top or really put them, in the position to win this ball game. So definitely agree with the Chargers pick on their tight, narrow margins and heart attack games that the Chargers love to give their fans. So we both got the Chargers moving on, and we'll move on to the next game. Dolphins Bills, number 7 versus number 2, 1:00 on CBS and Paramount Plus. Coming into this game, we didn't know if Tua Tagovailoa would play. We got our answer. He's ruled out. They have really had a lot of trouble this year with the quarterback position. They cannot catch a break. Tua's played fantastic this year. When he's played, 64% completion percentage, 3,548 yards passing, 25 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, and posed the league best 105.5 passer rating in the National Football League. So they're obviously going to miss out on a very efficient Tua Tagovailoa tomorrow, who gave the Bills 2 good games, beat the Bills in Miami, lost to the Bills in a snow game where everyone was kind of questioning, are the Dolphins really going to, they're going to go up there and just get absolutely blown out? No, it actually turned out to be a game-winning field goal by the Bills. So they played Buffalo really well up there in Orchard Park. So they're definitely going to miss Tua Tagovailoa in this one. Skylar Thompson gets the start. We'll talk a little bit more about the Dolphins in just a second, but the Bills in general. Do we still have any remaining questions regarding the Buffalo Bills? I mean, other than the fact that they haven't made a Super Bowl or something like that, they've passed almost every single test. Do you have any other questions for them, Ben?
They remind me so much of the 2000, 2008 era Colts. They are just always right there. It's not a question if they will do it. It's a question of when, and we'll see if this is their year. I think they have every reason off the field to have all the hype in the world. It couldn't be a bigger buildup. They were predicted by many analysts to win the Super Bowl. There's no question that they should be there. It's if they will. Their track record in the history says, a bit of coming up short, especially in the big games. So I don't think there's anything on the field that I'd worry about. It's just Buffalo as it's, as an entity. Will they be able to rise to the challenge? So I don't think for this game we have any more questions for it.
Your major psychology or sociology? Which one is it?
It is sociology with a big emphasis on psychology.
Well, we got to check on the psychology of some of these, Bills fans and all that throughout the postseason, because I mean they've gone through some rough ones. Like we said, the 4 falls of Buffalo in the past, fallen short there. They've fallen short the last 2 years. Both of those at Arrowhead. They lost in the AFC Championship in 2020. They lost in the divisional round in 21, which a lot of people regarded as the AFC Championship before the AFC Championship. We know a thing or two about that one, but like you said, Buffalo, they've really answered about every single question that you could ask for on the field play. They have wiped out any type of issue that you might have with them. I mean, Josh Allen has completed 63% of his passes, 4,283 yards passing, 35 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. That might be a little bit of not an issue, but a little bit of concern when it came to the fact that, Josh Allen was being a little careless with the football down the stretch, but playoff Josh Allen, as a lot of people like to say, the dude doesn't turn the ball over and he just cooks. One thing he was cooking at this entire season, he had over 750 rushing yards in the regular season. So he was a big chunk of their running game success this this 2022 season. So, talk about Buffalo in that regard. Their defense has played really well. They're actually top 2 in both scoring offense and defense. So you want to talk about balance and dominance at the same time. Buffalo has really, really done a good job on both sides of the football. Now for the Dolphins, as we mentioned, Tua is not going to be playing. What can we exactly expect from the Dolphins minus Tua this Sunday?
That's a good one. I think you can trust Tyreek. I think he's more than proven himself. And Waddell. They have all the pieces there. I really, if Tua was in, would say the Dolphins are going to win this game. I really think they can. As you said, those last 2 games they've played come down to the wire. Always something weird happening.
Yep.
It's a classic AFC East matchup. I think we'll have to rely on if Skyler can get the job done. Per se, we saw him do it against the Jets on a very minor scale. There was a lot on the line, but it just wasn't the same as going to Buffalo and beating the Bills. I think we're going to have to rely on every player that can step up. They will have to do every single thing right, and then they'll find themselves having to have a miracle at the end. That will be the only way they stay in my eyes, because without Tua, there's just not going to be a lot of explosiveness. If you can't get it to Tyreek and Waddell, you're just really going to have to rely on the run game, which isn't something that's going to win you the game. Defense, they're really good, but it's not going to be enough. They're going to have to do everything right and ask for another Miami miracle. And hopefully there's no Gronk to try to stop them at the end right by the goal line, because it's going to have to take a miracle.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, they're gonna have to work some miracles and see if Tyreek Hill can be a miracle worker out there. But the thing is with the Dolphins, like I said, they've had a lot of shuffle at quarterback. It depends. I'm not gonna say that this game is like Skylar Thompson has to go out and throw 400 yards to win the game, because if he throws for 400 yards, I mean, maybe they win the game. That's the thing. The Bills are just that good, But Skylar Thompson, he's gonna have to get it to his playmakers. They're gonna have to try to simple and dial it down a bit on offense and just try to make it, as easy as it can be against a very good Buffalo Bills defense. And that is a lot harder than, it's easier said than done, is really what it is. So just trying to get the ball to playmakers in unique ways. Maybe Tyreek Hill on a jet sweep. Maybe Jalen Waddle on a reverse. Just try some stuff like that. The run game you were talking about, Raheem Mostert, their starting back, has a broken thumb. He's questionable to play in this game. But, I mean, they're going to have to rely on him. They're going to rely on Jeff Wilson a lot, because the run game is going to have to be balanced with the pass game, and they're going to have some efficiency there. And like I said, the defense is really going to have to get after. They're going to have to get after Josh Allen. They're going to have to make him super frustrated. So, again, easier said than done, especially without your starting quarterback, who has the league best passer rating. Let me ask, do you have any key player or matchup in this game?
That's a great question too. I'm going to say, I'm going to just put it on both receivers. I'm just going to put it on Waddell and Tyreek. It's just it really is what they can make out of it. Because as we've seen in the past, Tyreek can change a game out of nowhere. You know, if Skyler can get it to him, they could come out hot and, 70-yard touchdown. Tyreek's more than capable. It's just, are you going to give it to them enough? Can you get it to them literally? And can you make enough happen to where they can, work with it? I would say that would be my matchups, is both Dolphins receivers, because if that doesn't get going, this one could get shut down pretty quick. The Bills won't have a problem taking care of the run offense. So I'd say let's look to Waddell and Tyreek if they can make miracles happen for Miami.
Yep. I mean, you look at, Mike McDaniel is the head coach and basically their play caller, and he comes from the Shanahan tree. The system of Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers, it works really well. You just place the right guys in there, and they're just able to, be in good positions to succeed. And, look at it. The Niners have Brock Purdy in there, and he's a third-string quarterback, just like Skylar Thompson is, and he's succeeding. The Niners have a bit more of a talented team, but the Dolphins are up there in, the top 10 of most talented teams in the National Football League, without a doubt. If their defense shows up to play, they're gonna have obviously gonna have a chance if their offense can have short field and they can just score some points. I'll say this though, a matchup I'm watching out for, I know that, we look at Stephon Diggs a lot. Stephon Diggs is going to be guarded by, Xavier Howard. So that's obviously going to be the 1v1 matchup that you want to look at. I'm actually looking at Gabe Davis versus Keon Crossan, the number 2 receiver versus the number 2 corner. If Josh Allen is getting the ball to Gabe Davis and just hitting deep shot after deep shot like Gabe Davis is capable of, this game's going to be over halfway through the first quarter. And you've seen how Gabe Davis is able to change a game. A 98-yard touchdown against the Pittsburgh Steelers back in week 5. And he had like 180 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. So just this feels like a Gabe Davis game to me. So I think watching what he can do against a guy like Keon Crossan, who's gotten experience this year, playing a lot of corner with guys like Byron Jones out. But I think a lot of it's going to come on, Crossan and just the cornerbacks as a whole for Miami. So this is definitely going to be interesting to see. What is your prediction for Sunday?
I'm going to say if the Dolphins bring their best, I'm going to say 35-32 Bills win.
Oh, okay. Another 3-point game right there. So if the Dolphins bring their best, which is it's a big if there, but yeah. Okay. I'm going to be I'm not going to be as optimistic. Obviously I would want the Dolphins to win as we're wearing these Bengals uniforms, and obviously take care of our game. But I think the Bills are going to handle this game. I don't think it's going to be one of those games where it's like, oh, it's closer than expected and stuff like that. I think the Bills are going to roll. I think it's going to be 31-7 Bills. I mean, the Dolphins is just going to be, I think it's going to be tough pickings for them. I would love to see Miami win, but, I just have that much, not even that much faith in the Bills. It's just the production of Buffalo, and the fact that Tua's not playing is a big part of why I'm picking the Bills by so much in Orchard Park. Well, the final game of that day, Sunday Night Football, Ravens, Bengals, 8:15 p.m., NBC and Peacock. We just played these guys literally 5 days ago. Play them on Sunday night. Me and you have talked about this game so much I'd even say over the last week and a half or so, because we basically, we were like, okay, we're probably going to end up playing these guys in the playoffs. It's just going to happen. We've been talking about this for quite a while. So, a coin toss wasn't needed. The Bengals won the division 12-4. The Ravens 10-7. A big injury here. Lamar Jackson has been ruled out of this game. So, most likely it'll be Tyler Huntley that'll step in and start. But one question I want to ask with this one, how tough is it to prepare and play a team back-to-back, this time with boiling stakes?
It's tough. It really is the NFL where anything can happen. I think even us, most biased or non-biased at all, either way, we're still on edge about this game. I think the Ravens have nothing to lose, while we know where we belong and we hope we belong back in the Super Bowl. We really, really need to take it as they are at their full force and that they are just as good as a team as us, because we've prepared for all 3 quarterbacks now at some point this season.
Yep.
We played Lamar, and we saw how that went. We lost, not by much, but we lost. Played Brown. That one went well, but they had a lot of life in them, and now we're preparing for Huntley. Anything can happen, and the Ravens are definitely a team, especially with teams with this much adversity against each other, to not say other words, a lot of history, a lot of dislikement, to say the least. Anything can happen, and they're going to try to make anything happen. They're going to try to get any calls to go their way. They're going to, they know what pushes our buttons. We know what pushes theirs. You could get a very odd score from that. So I say the biggest thing to prepare is the mind. Get ready for whatever they're going to throw at us from a Bengals perspective. They will try any tricks and cards that they have up their sleeve, because they have nothing to lose. They have absolutely nothing to lose.
Yep. I mean, this is a very tricky situation when we're talking about what the Bengals were able to show and weren't able to show this past Sunday. I heard some interviews with Brian Callahan as well. He was like, once we got a comfortable lead in the first half, we weren't, we didn't want to throw out some things that, because we were going to play these guys most likely next week, seeing the score of Buffalo and New England. So, I mean, we were, most likely going to play the Ravens again. We were like, do we want to throw this out there and, see how it works? But nah, I think we're good. I think we've, obviously we can find some holes in there. We're just going to kind of save this and play a very vanilla second half because we feel that the game's in control. It's that playoff time now. I'm just interested to see what the Bengals have dialed up for them because the Ravens have done a really good job on this Cincinnati offense. And, that's the next question here. Can Cincinnati get the offense rolling against this Baltimore defense, who is only giving up in 2 games this year? The Ravens have only given up an average of 274 yards a game to our offense, which is, that's 100 or so yards less than what we average on a game-to-game basis. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, they're good at limiting us for sure. Chase didn't have as big of a role as we saw last game. If we look at 2021, we had some big plays against them and, beat them by 20, 21 each time. I don't think we're going to see that tomorrow, and I don't think we're going to see what we saw last week. I think we will come out, all systems go, and I think we will have some big plays, but the Ravens just know how to get to us, and once they start, if they can get to Burrow, then they will keep it going, especially with our right side of the line missing 2.
Yeah.
I think they'll try to, put pressure on any weakness they find. I think it'll rely a lot on Mixon as well. If we can get him going, plus usually one of our receivers pops up more, at least this season, than the other, whether it be Higgins or whether it be Chase or maybe even Boyd, the Ravens killer. If we can just get one of them going and just keep going at that area, I think that's how we'll get up early. But they do play us very well. So it could be a limited game. They've done it to us in the past, especially this season. They've done really well. I think that will be just find an area and keep hitting it. And if we can get that going, we could get up early, and I don't think we look back.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? That's a really good point because, our offense is missing now the right side of the line, which was what we repaired in the offseason. You'll have Max Sharping, who's, been a 2-year starter in the NFL, starting at right guard on Sunday night, and then have Akeem Adeniji, who was our starting right guard last year during the Super Bowl run, who'll be starting at right tackle. So what Baltimore will probably do is they'll probably end up, I could see them doing a lot of zone blitzes. I could see them trying to, fake a blitz one side and then send a bunch of guys on the backside. And then if our offensive line's able to communicate well enough and give Joe Burrow some type of time, and Joe Burrow's able, to create plays with his legs and extend plays and keep them alive, then I think, we're going to be fine. I don't think we have to really try to, hammer home the run game. We don't need, because the Baltimore Ravens run game has been the best, run defense in the National Football League since they acquired Roquan Smith, who just got a $100 million bag. So I think we just gotta, keep our run game, respectable. If we're averaging 4 yards a pop, that's a win right there. And then just being efficient in the passing game, finding the one-on-one matchups, trying to find soft spots in the zone, giving enough time for Burrow to really do his thing. And just if Burrow's on, man, if the man's on target, on Sunday night, then we're going to feel really good about our chances. But the thing with Baltimore's defense is this. I'm not even going to say that they're very opportunistic, but they're a very aggressive defense. If they get a turnover or 2 against us and give their offense a short field, that's the way the Ravens are going to get in this game. If they get a defensive or special teams touchdown, if they're able to force some turnovers on us, if we're able to just kind of eliminate everything from that and just, take shots or just find matchups that we really like, which is, a thing that the Bengals have done a really good job of this year and even last year as well, then I think Cincinnati is going to, have a nice control on this game. So it just really depends on, the stuff up front. And if we're able to, really give Burrow time and if Burrow's able to hit his guys and just find matchups throughout this game. Another thing is, I don't have a slide for the Baltimore offense, but Baltimore, they're one of the best run games in the National Football League on offense. They're averaging about 160 yards a game rushing, and they're going to have J.K. Dobbins back there. They're going to have Mark Andrews back in the receiving game. Tyler Huntley will be the starting quarterback. Their offense hasn't scored a whole lot since Tyler Huntley took over, only 13 points a game. But their offense is very old school. Like I said, they grind it, they play action it, they go through a lot of their tight ends in the passing game. So that actually grows into actually one of my big matchups on Sunday night. I'll get to you, Ben, in just a second, but the big matchup I'm looking at is Mark Andrews versus Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt. I think if the Bengals are able to eliminate the tight ends of the Baltimore Ravens and some of Tyler Huntley's security blankets that once were Lamar Jackson's, then he's going to have to look for guys on the outside like Demarcus Robinson or a Sammy Watkins. Deshaun Jackson's even playing in this game. I completely forgot about. So he's going to have to try to find some guys who haven't really had to step up in a role like that in a long time, or just guys that have never even been in that type of role. Because Demarcus Robinson's a number one now, which, is crazy to think. But if they're able to, eliminate the use of tight ends and then try to halt their run game a bit, which DJ Reader's done a good job of that. BJ Hill in the middle, the linebackers as well. It's going to be a big game from the linebackers. They're going to have to do their job. They're going to have to, be on patrol in the run and pass game. But I'll get to you, Ben. What's a matchup or player that you're looking out for on Sunday night?
This is the question I've waited all show for. And this one might be a surprise, but one name keeps coming to my mind. Isaiah Likely. I think what he could have done against us last game, it was right there. He had the deep ball, got called back. And then they had the long deep ball, which we punched out. Those two plays don't happen. They could have, I think we win the game no matter what, but I think it would have been a lot closer game. I really like Likely a lot as a player. Don't like playing him, but I think he has a way of getting through our backfield of the defense. And I think he would be the one to come up with some big plays, because it's similar to how they play with Lamar or Huntley. They will keep it pretty short and they will march down. But when they want to get explosive, at least last game what I saw, he really can be their guy. And he just did something. I mean, he got open twice. I have thought about him every single day since we played them. I really hope we keep an eye on him. If he gets 0 catches, then great. I'll go down as a cold take. But I think that would be the hot take that I don't want to hear, that I'm right, because I think Likely really, he just has a way of going about the defense, just his scheme. And those two plays I really think could have changed last game. We got lucky on the call, and then our, punch ball number one, force fumbling type defense saved us. Yeah. I really think watch out for Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
It's likely he'll get some big plays.
That was a great pun right there. That was likely a great pun for the thing right there. But yeah, I mean, like said, talking about playing off of Mark Andrews, those guys are going to try to focus on him, which it likely means that he's going to be open a lot, So, definitely they're going to have to try to, have some spies, especially in the slot on him. Mike Hilton maybe has to play a little on him. Our guy Akeem Davis-Gaither might have to play a little bit here and there. Watch out for him in some third down packages. So I definitely agree. And an obvious choice for a player that we need to watch out for, gotta watch out for Joe Burrow, man. Because Joe Burrow, I will say this, he has actually been, kind of held down a good amount by the Ravens this year. He hasn't had his best games against them. He just looked off last week. He looked frustrated. So I think Joe gets into that playoff mode. We're able to find some matchups and he's able to be on target, then I think he's going to be rolling. And I think, this offense will get rolling. I think the entire sideline and the entire stadium will be into it even more than what they're going to be into it on Sunday night. So, I mean, obviously we got to keep an eye on our quarterback number 9 in this one. I'll give the pick here. Ravens, Bengals. What do you got, Ben?
31-21 Bengals win. It's no heart attack, but until about 8 minutes left in the fourth, we don't have the game sealed. It'll come down to us either sealing it with a field goal, going up 2 possessions, or we'll be up 3 and then we'll get a touchdown and the defense won't let up after that.
Yep. Definitely could see that's a good pick right there. I'm gonna go with Bengals 30, Ravens 17. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think Cincinnati's going to try to come out and start smoking on offense. I think we're going to put up a decent amount of points to start this game. I think it'll be in that 20-10 range or, 17-7 range at halftime. And then, I think Baltimore will make some adjustments, but I think we're just going to, score enough in the third quarter and fourth quarter in the second half. And our defense is going to rise to the occasion, just like the Ravens defense is. And I think, just getting enough, I think just starting out, scoring enough and stuff like that and kind of putting the pressure on this Baltimore offense, I think it's going to pay dividends in the long run for us. So I have Cincinnati winning 30-17. Closer, like you said, about 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, like you said. I think it'll be around that late third quarter, early fourth quarter when we kind of see, this game, this is a game where the Bengals have had control on this, and hopefully we see our men in the stripes get this dub. We'll go up to the top. All right. We're going to add this playoff bracket in there. We're going to ask, who do you like? I didn't get your pick on the NFC and the AFC Super Bowl predictions. Matt's prediction ended up being Eagles-Bengals in the Super Bowl. Brady's prediction, I believe, ended up being the Niners and the Chiefs. Who do you have in the NFC first, Ben?
In the NFC, I don't think there's any better team right now than the 49ers. I have them winning. I think it will come down to Eagles, 49ers, NFC Championship. And I think the 49ers will win in a very close game.
All right. And how about your AFC pick?
We'll take it back to 81 and 88. We'll just replay those Super Bowls for the third time. No one other than the Cincinnati Bengals.
You got to love a good trilogy. Hollywood right there, even though the Super Bowl's not in Hollywood this year. But
got a California team, though.
Yeah, got a California team in it, though. So that's true. Got to play some ball in the desert. I'm gonna go on ahead and say the Eagles are gonna win this. I've been so back and forth with it, because the Niners, they get back to the NFC Championship and lose. It'll be like, it'll be tough for them not tough for them to rebound from it, but it'll just be like the psychological part from it. Man, we got back to the NFC Championship and we didn't make the Super Bowl and stuff like that. I think Eagles-Niners will be the NFC Championship, and I think that'll be a fantastic football game. I think you'll see strength versus strength, and it's just going to be just a collision the entire game from both offenses and defenses playing against each other. I think it's going to be a really physical matchup. But I have the Eagles taking it very narrowly and winning the NFC, and that was a tough pick to make. In the AFC, I know we're wearing these Bengals jerseys, and I know we shouldn't, really represent, our team like this, not represent our team like this, but be kind of homers in this way. And it's not even the fact that, being homers, Cincinnati Bengals, have a top 3 quarterback. They have a top 5 wide receiver. They have a top 5 offense in the National Football League. They have a very opportunistic defense, one of the most clutch defenses in the National Football League. I hope this is not a cold take because I don't think it'll be a cold take. The Bengals are going back to the Super Bowl. I've had this dream way too many times for it to not come true. So, and I'm not saying I'm a prophet or anything like that. It's just the fact that I have faith, but at the same time, we've seen results before. And I think Cincinnati is really on that mission where it's like we're not letting anything get back in our way. We have a mission and we have unfinished business to take care of in Arizona. So I got Bengals Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Let's go. I love that.
Gotta love it, man. I mean, representing our team like that. But man, this has been fun, man. This has really been fun talking about the AFC and all. We got some good matchups coming up this weekend, especially in the NFC as well. Thanks for stopping by, Ben. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Always a pleasure. And I really hope our score predictions come true, especially that Sunday night game.
Yeah.
This week.
Yeah, that Sunday night game a little more than others. That's you could definitely tell by the jerseys and all that stuff. But man, for that being said, I'm Chase Johns. That's Ben Connors, and we'll see you guys next episode.